Can fasting save your life? Can fasting actually heals disease? Intermittent fasting, water fasting, fasting mimicking diets. There's a lot of terms about around fasting nowadays, and people are really lost. So stay until the end to learn a little bit more about the science of fasting, the application of fasting, and the most important kind of fast, the hygienic fast. So don't leave because there's a lot to cover. Hi there, I'm Dr. Eduardo Corassa. I'm a clinical nutritionist from Brazil. I have been growing the social media in English right now to deliver you what I have been delivering to Brazil for more than 15 years is that health is produced by healthful living. The motto created by Herbert Shelton maybe 100 years ago or like 50, 60, 70, and it's still updated until today. It's still it didn't go out of fashion. Still as more more scientific nowadays because back in the days hygienists has been seen as quacks, but now is as Goldhammer suggests, it's cutting edge science. So it's a pleasure to introduce to you Nathan Gershfeld. I could tell a little bit of your background, but I think it's better for you to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me on, Eduardo. So, my story begins when I was in college as an electrical engineer, and my grandmother, who was a chiropractor at the time, was trying to tell me to eat healthier, live a little bit better. I had some health problems that weren't very clear to solve, and eventually made my way up to be a patient at True North Health Center and discovered water fasting as a very significant way to impact my health. And I really just I liked it a lot more. I was interested in it. I wanted to learn how the body worked. I wanted to learn how it gets healthier. And so I eventually finished engineering and then decided to go and become a doctor of chiropractic. So I went to school, did some prerequisites, and then I went and found I had been to True North Health Center, and I had wanted to do this kind of intervention for people. So I had called Dr. Goldhammer and asked him if I could come and do some internship there, and he agreed. I tried to talk him into it a little bit. I had to talk him into it, but he agreed to have me on as an intern, and there I started to learn and see firsthand just the powerful effect of water fasting has on a variety of different conditions. And so since then, so the goal was for me to go there to learn how to do water fasting supervision from a doctor, from a doctor level area, and then start my own clinic. I wanted to actually start a fasting clinic and help people do some water fasting in my own clinic. So as I learned that, I went to Southern California, started my clinic in Southern California. So this was a kind of a large 5-bedroom house where people would come and fly all over the country, all over the world, and we would supervise them and go through some water fasting, some juice fasting, some modified fasting, and also just to give a way for people to get a break from the outside, from the modern world, just to come in, learn how to do these things, get some support, and then come back home with the ability to reverse their disease. And during the pandemic, there was a great number of people that were asking me if I could help them do some fasting at home, because with the pandemic, there was some people that were more than willing to come and do some fasting at the house, and other people that either their spouse was a little nervous, they didn't want them to travel, or they themselves didn't want to travel, or it was just a little busy time for them that they wanted to stay at home. So we're able to start doing some fasting supervision from the comfort of their own home. And so since then, we've been doing remote fasting and helping people do just some pretty significant disease reversal under the right conditions at home. And then, so here we are now. I received an email from you asking. I looked up your YouTube channel, and it looks like you're doing some decent, good things here in the health space. And here I am talking with you.
Do you want to know more about fasting and how to live a healthful life, or even raw vegan recipes? Hygienic Fasting, Nature Surgery, and the book Natural Delicacies cooking without a stove are available on Amazon, and hygienic fasting is actually available on print on demand, so you can receive it at your home. But I also have 8 books published, 6 online courses, retreats here in Brazil, and I attend patients online in private sessions. Unfortunately, all the other books and the online courses are still only available in Portuguese. But if you want my help as a nutritionist, or even if you want to come to a retreat in Brazil, just sign up. The contact will be on the website and in the links below. And if you like the content, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications, comment, share the video. If you do all those, you are going to help the channel to grow. If we grow, you grow together, getting more vital, life-changing information, and help yourself and others to make this a more healthy and better planet for all of us. It is a pleasure. Everybody that agrees with hygiene and is promoting hygiene, it is a pleasure to get to know. It's a pleasure to interview. It's a pleasure to get more people aware of the information, because actually, I'm not going to talk about me, but hygiene saved my life 17 years ago. I was diabetic, about to do 2 surgeries, a lot of health issues, and I found Dr. Douglas Graham. He's a raw foodist, but a hygienist as well. So through his work, I got to know Herbert Shelton's work, and then Alan Goldhammer, all the plant-based medical doctors, and the health science. So when I was looking for, I'm looking to grow up my social media in English, because here in Brazil, I already reach more than a million followers nowadays. I have a lot of work here, like TED Talks and things like that, but not in English. So it's my dream now to get the word in English out, because I think I have a lot to contribute. So tell me more, a little bit more. How was to intern in True North Health Center, the biggest hygienic fasting clinic in the world?
It was amazing. I walked in not knowing what to expect. So this is a little bit of background. Is when I first started getting interested in health, most of the space was about centered around taking the right supplements or taking the right pills, or if you got to combine certain things together. And so that was, it was a little bit unique to walk into a health center where they were actually teaching people how to live their lifestyle. And of course, supplements wasn't the focus. It was more about, let's get the big things right. And so I remember walking in, and I met Dr. Goldhammer. They showed me around, explained some of the responsibilities, and and then it was just following the doctors every morning and checking everybody, checking their blood pressure, pulse, temperature, weight, and talking to them and seeing how they're feeling, seeing how they're doing. And then I found ways to sit in on the medical doctor consults just to see what kind of things they were asking them. And, and so it was a really unique experience. I was learning things. I mean, of course I was a student at the time, so I didn't know anything about, hadn't really formally studied any type of pathology or physiology or, or biochemistry. So it's interesting to go through this and watch what would happen to people as they have created the disease in their body with the diet that they've eaten and the lifestyle that they lived. And then you watch this process of the body essentially unwinding these processes slowly over the period of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes, of just doing nothing except for drinking water and doing a complete rest. So the internship it was about 3 years where I was in school, 3 or 4 years. I was in school, and then during the breaks, I would drive up to True North, about 6, 7 hour drive, and stay there for a week or 2 or 3. And then, so that was happening every couple months when the semester ended. And then once I was done, Dr. Goldhammer asked me if I could be a staff doctor there. So then that's where the responsibility really came in, because I'd kind of seen all this, and now it was time for me to make recommendations and kind of take care of the people.
Nice, nice. And what was the most impressive things you saw over there?
Well,
Or
I've
even
stopped.
your own practice as well. I
Mhm.
don't mean just there. What was the most impressive case you've seen with fasting?
Yeah, let's actually back up and I want to explain to everybody what fasting is conceptually. So imagine you
Nice.
have a big warehouse with 50 trillion workers. Okay, so there's about 50 trillion cells in your body. You have 50 trillion workers that all are coordinating all of their actions and their activities designed to keep your body functioning as optimally as possible. And so, in the middle of all this work, all these trillions of workers, anytime you open up a package, anytime you create something, anytime you change things out, you're going to have some debris. Okay, just like if you had a big warehouse, a big shipping facility, you'd have debris all over the place. You'd have debris on the floors, in between the machines, in between the conveyor belts, and as you get older, as this warehouse has been operating for decades, there's it's not quite moving as quickly and it's not quite moving as efficiently as it used to when there wasn't as much debris. And so now the boss comes in and says, okay, we are going to stop accepting new orders right now. And everybody who doesn't have a job after we stop accepting new orders, your job is now to go in and clean things out, clean the debris out, make everything a little bit better, clear out any extra proteins or extra substances that are byproducts that are unnecessary, and deliver them to the colon and to the liver and kidneys so that you can urinate them out or excrete them out anyway. Okay. And so this is the conceptual process of what's going on with a water only fast. There's nothing magical that's going on. It's that this is what the body's been designed to do at every minute of every day, which is to heal itself and to eliminate waste products. And so when we eat a diet that is a standard kind of contemporary diet that is high in animal foods, high in refined carbohydrates and refined other foods like protein powders and fats like oils and refined sugars and refined proteins, and also things that have lots of preservatives in there, we start to develop these diseases that are called diseases of excess. So things like high blood pressure, okay, diabetes, for example, autoimmune diseases. So high blood pressure, it is a window into how hard your heart is working. And if you have blockages or narrowing of your arteries, you're going to have more high blood pressure. Okay. If you are eating a lot of salt and your body's retaining that water and therefore increasing the volume of water in your cells, you're going to have high blood pressure. Okay. And so the solution is not actually what most medical doctors are taught, which is they are trying to pharmaceutically alter your body so that your blood pressure looks like it's lower. Yeah, that's not the correct way to do it. You're actually ignoring the cause of the problem. And so the cause of the problem is actually to adjust your food intake, okay, the diet that's actually causing this. And when we do these things, your body will recover, okay, and it recovers extremely well, extremely quickly, and without any negative side effects, okay, as long as we do it safely. And so that's one of them, high blood pressure. High blood pressure is one of many different diseases that are related to heart-related problems. But we also have blood sugar imbalances, things like type 2 diabetes. Okay. So when we are normally eating food and we are consuming the food, chewing it up, your body is designed to go into your stomach, enzymes will go into your stomach and they will actually uh, uh, break down the food to get out, to unlock the glucose. And from there, it goes into your bloodstream. The glucose rises, and now your insulin is coming out from your pancreas and is designed to take the glucose from the bloodstream into each individual cell. But if the cells are actually clogged with fat, okay, because of the diet that we're eating, high animal foods, high fat foods, junk foods, these cells are going to be clogged with fat and the insulin can't bring the glucose in. Okay, so this is actually what's called insulin resistance, and it will actually cause blood sugar to go up to the point where now the doctor will say, oh, well, your blood sugar is up. We need to give you some blood sugar medication like metformin or glipizide, or, worst case scenario, maybe insulin. Okay. But notice none of these actually will correct the cause of the problem. Okay. The only way to correct the cause of the problem is to stop doing what we were doing that caused the problem in the first place. And this is going to be the food that we're eating. Okay. So two of the most common diseases are going to be high blood pressure and diabetes that get phenomenal response from fasting. Okay. Now, the tough part is let's suppose someone has these diseases and maybe they have some weight that they want to lose. Maybe they have, little aches and pains and headaches and joint pains and other things. Now someone says, like you or me will tell them, okay, you need to change your diet. You need to be eating fruits and vegetables and healthier healthier sources of calories. And now they try to do that, and it turns out it's very difficult to do. Why? Because the food actually doesn't taste as good when it's healthy than it does when you're adding a whole bunch of salt and oil and processed stuff to it. Okay. And so now we have a little bit of a tough situation, because how are we supposed to override our desire to eat tasty food and then somehow override it for the rest of our life if we want to eat healthy food? Okay. And get the benefits of the healthy food. And it turns out that this answer is actually, it's not as clear as we think. Okay. It's not intuitive. Okay. You're supposed to override somehow your hunger drive. It turns out that if we actually take these foods out of the system and take the taste buds, give the taste buds a nice break for, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks, your taste buds get so sensitive that now the foods that you're supposed to eat actually taste really, really good. So a plain salad with tomatoes and cucumbers and celery tastes amazing. And in my practice, many people tell me that the salad tasted very bland when they first, before they started the fast. And then a week or two after fasting, when they're done and they're eating food, all of a sudden the food tastes amazing. Okay. And it ends up feeling like it's more sustainable. Okay. And same thing goes for, vegetables and fruit salads and things that normally you would need to add a bunch of soy sauce or salt or other types of things. You actually don't need that. And so this is one of the benefits of fasting, is that long-term fasting can help to adjust your taste buds so that the healthy food actually tastes good. But there's a number of conditions, including high blood pressure and diabetes, other things like autoimmune diseases. Okay. Other things like just solving the problem of weight loss and weight gain. Okay. These are some of the major health problems. They're the top 3 leading causes of death in the country. Okay. I don't know about Brazil, but in the United States, those are the top 3 leading causes of death. Okay.
It's the same.
Probably close.
We
Yeah.
got
As you get
we
more
got your
industrialized.
bad habit. We got America bad habits. So it
Mm-hmm.
became the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Cancer, heart disease, diabetes. It's on rampant. Like it's everywhere.
Right. Yeah. You notice that the more people have the ability to make their own choices for food, and they're not constrained by economic pressure, they're designed by nature to actually be eating the most richest foods, the tastiest foods that they can find. And in the modern world, the tastiest, richest foods are extremely unhealthy. And they've been created in a lab, by food scientists trying to figure out what's going to taste the best. But back in the times of our ancestors, none of these foods existed. So we didn't have to make those decisions. All we had to decide is, does the food taste good or not? And if it does, then we just eat it. But today our instincts are leading us in the wrong direction.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So diabetes, hypertension. What else have you seen fasting works? Like
Yeah,
in
autoimmune
terms of
diseases.
autoimmune
Autoimmune
diseases.
diseases tend to respond quite well. 2 in particular, 3 in particular, are going to be psoriasis. So there's some data out there, and also I've seen in my practice people with psoriasis, their skin. Most people will actually experience a pretty significant benefit if they can do a long enough fast and identify certain foods that might be triggering the flare-ups. The second thing could be is I've seen great results with is rheumatoid arthritis. So just a general anti-inflammatory process of the fast allows the body to clear out some of the inflammation that's caused, or that's being caused by rheumatoid arthritis. And then again, if we identify certain foods that are sensitive, that the person's sensitive to, they can live a life free of significant pain. There's a measure of general inflammation in the body, which is called C-reactive protein. You can test it in your blood and see if you're in a lot of pain, that level will probably be up. And the normal range is from about 0 to 4. Okay. And so if someone's, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 points of CRP, they've got a pretty significant level of inflammation in their body. Well, recently, last couple of months, I worked with a gentleman who had developed some pretty severe rheumatoid arthritis, and his CRP level was 140, believe it or not. Okay. And it's an incredible number to be dealing with.
140. I
140
never seen such.
C-reactive protein. So we did a 19-day water-only fast, at which point he continued to improve. He was able to move his joints, able to finally walk around. We reintroduced food back into the system. He continued to, eat extremely healthy. He was very motivated because he was in so much pain, and he started to do some exercise, continued to eat. And about a few months later, his CRP, he just actually messaged me, and it's now down to 1.7. Okay. And so this is actually, I've been seeing this over and over and over again in the last, 13 years. And CRP tends to respond quite well if we do a fast correctly and properly.
The sad thing is that we only have, for example, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel now in English as well, but a lot
Mhm.
more scientific videos and a lot more videos in my YouTube channel in Portuguese. And I have published one of the videos about fasting. I have like talked about the 21-day water fast from True North in the lymphoma case that they published it on
Mhm.
British Medical Journal. And
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, that's a case report." Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure, it's a case report. So, but uh, as Carl Sagan used to suggest, a lack of evidence is not evidence of lacking. I don't remember the phrase in English, but just because we don't have science yet about the subject, it doesn't mean it's wrong. So it's
Right.
sad that we cannot say, like, for example, fasting cures a disease or fasting heals a disease, because we that have seen it. For example, I have fasted for 39 days on water, and I have done a lot of long water fasts throughout these 2 decades that I'm practicing hygiene. And it's sad because we cannot tell the public what is actually happening. We still need more science behind it. And I agree that we need more science, but still, it's we in the natural health movement have to prove that nature is right, and have to, but they don't have to prove that the chemicals and all the kind of treatment that is completely non-biological, it's right or wrong, like, so
Yeah,
it's quite.
I have an idea as to why. Okay, so
Why?
so
Tell me, tell me.
listen to kind of, we accept the fact that every human is actually trying to find the most effective therapy for their problem. Okay, and effective means different things for different people. Okay, but essentially what they're looking for is something that is cheaper, that is easier, and that doesn't require a lot of trouble. Okay, and so imagine this is what standard medicine is telling you. Okay, if you have high blood pressure, for example, or if you have diabetes, you don't have to change your diet. Okay, you don't have to do anything different. We're just going to give you this drug, and then magically it's all going to go away. You don't have to worry about it. Oh, and by the way, you don't even have to pay for it. Your insurance is going to pay for it, or the government's going to help pay for it. So it's going to cost you, an hour's worth of work, minimum wage. Okay. And now you and I and other people in the space are saying, no, no, actually, we have a better solution for you. Okay. And they're thinking better than this. Okay. Right. And we're saying, okay, you have to completely overhaul your lifestyle. You have to rethink every assumption you've ever made about healthy food and diet and lifestyle and how your body works. Okay. And not only that, now you have to explain to all your friends and family why you are different and why they're wrong and everybody else is wrong and why you're right. Okay. Oh, and by the way, insurance doesn't pay for this, government doesn't pay for this, and everybody thinks you're a quack. Okay. Or a whack job. Okay. So I have great compassion for people who say that this is radical, because it absolutely is. Okay. And so there's what we wish would happen is what would have happened in I can imagine would have happened in a Stone Age village, where you find a bush of blackberries, and they are the sweetest blackberries, the tastiest blackberries, and it doesn't have too many thorns, so you don't really get too many cuts when you go get the blackberries. So if you and your friend discover these blackberries and you bring them back to your village, they're going to have a big party for you and thank you that you improved their lives, because you did. Okay? But when we tell people you can actually reverse your disease, to them this is not an improvement. Okay? It's only an improvement when it becomes relevant, which is you had a stroke. Okay. Or You deeply understand that if your blood sugar is too high for too long, you're going to go blind and you're going to have infections in your feet. Okay. Or if your autoimmune disease is preventing you from going and playing with your grandkids. Okay. Or like one patient I had a long time ago, I told her, I said, your diabetes is so bad that, and your eyes are starting to malfunction, that, you know, by the time your granddaughter, who's 3 years old, by the time she's 10, you may not be able to see her. Like, you're going to go blind. Okay. And you may not be able to play with her because if this infection keeps getting, keeps coming back in your foot, they might eventually have to amputate it. Okay. So once she deeply understood that, all of a sudden the cost benefit analysis switched towards, okay, how do we solve this problem? Okay. But many people are just not that interested in it, or they're not quite aware. They're not like you and I, just generally interested in health. And so, every case study, every scientific article that comes out tends to support what I see clinically. Every day I talk to people who are doing fasting, and it supports what we're seeing clinically. So, but also other doctors, I think something to realize too is a lot of scientific investigation is designed to phrase their recommendations so that any doctor who doesn't know anything about the intervention can read through it and then apply it to their own practice. And so I have compassion for those doctors because they may not be interested, but to them, they're like, well, whatever works, whatever works. Okay. So if we have, 27 different case studies on different diseases, you and I look at them and say, that makes sense. That it explains what we see and what we've read, and we can extrapolate that for people that are interested. But for doctors who are constrained with legalities of, only conventional, recommending conventional things, it's a little bit too radical. But that's also why we're doing work at the True North Health Foundation. I'm on the board of a 501c3. It's a nonprofit organization where we help to fund studies that will explain some of the phenomenon we see in fasting. And we've done that over the last few years. There's been quite a number of studies that come out that continue to support the fact that fasting can be a powerful tool to change someone's life.
Yeah. It's at the same time, it's like a miracle, the best thing that we can actually imagine. And at the same time, it's so sad because, yeah, for sure, people only hear or only accept it when they're really, really sick. Fortunately, I was really, really sick at 22, but I have like such good insights to make the change. For example, my dad uh, passed away almost 7 years ago, something like that. And I was already a raw fooder and a hygienist for like 10 years when he passed away. And in his last days in Earth, he was dying with cancer. He was like, "You're right. I want to become a frugivore as well," because he had seen me eating fruits and vegetables and a raw food diet for like 10 years back then. But it was too late. So it's quite sad because we see so many people suffering without needlessly, because they believe in the, like Shelton used to say, they believe in the potions, the pills, the remedies and all these kind of things that now I deal with a lot of science because I have written 10 books, I give lectures, etc. So there's a lot of, for example, antibiotics can help to can can be oncogenic, can help cancer to grow because they damage the microbiome and the microbiota and a lot of other things. For example, statins can help cancer grow as well. That's a lower hypocholesterolemia medication. I,
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it right
Mm-hmm. Yep.
in English. It's always hard to translate at the same time. But and folic acid as an example of a supplement that is, if actually supplemented, can actually increase cancer in the mother and in her offspring.
Right.
So
When it's synthetic, but if you get it from natural sources, it doesn't. So,
yeah. But then
yeah.
then it's folate and not folic acid. So
Mm-hmm.
most people don't realize it. They just take the pill, they just take the supplement. They even think like supplements. No, supplements is natural, right? Like, so it's just a nutrient. So it's hard to understand all this and not be able to really help more people than we actually help. I think we help a lot of people, like my life was saved by hygiene, that's for sure. I wouldn't be alive today and functioning 10 times better than I was functioning back then. But we one day will make hygiene the norm. I hope so. So we keep fighting for it, right?
Yeah,
So, uh, so you only attend patients online. You don't have a clinic. Is that it?
that's correct. I had a clinic, and then with the pandemic, a lot of people started doing remote fasting with me, and then all of a sudden, everybody wanted to do it. It's just a lot more flexible. I could see a lot more people and help
Sure.
them from all over the world
Nice,
to do this. Mhm.
nice, nice. So, what was the most impressive case you ever seen heal from fasting with fasting?
Yeah, there's too many to count. So
I can imagine.
the highest blood pressure I ever saw decrease was 220 over 140, and that blood pressure got down in 1 week to about 150, I think, over 100. So they still had a
Wow.
lot to go, and that wasn't fasting. That was just eating the diet. Um, so that was the most impressive one. Diabetes, the highest, the worst diabetes I ever saw was an A1C of 14%, and it took, I believe it was about a 3 week water fast and then a good solid 3 months of just healthy food. And the A1C came down to a little under 7. And then within a year, the
Wow.
A1C was normal. As far as autoimmune disease, I've seen people with severe, like we talked about the arthritis with the CRP. That was the highest I'd ever seen improve. Um, let's see, psoriasis I've seen clear out, significant psoriasis, and I think 16 17 days of fasting. Of course, just to, it's, everybody's a little bit different, and this is why I offer consultations beforehand to see if maybe, if somebody's health problem would actually be helped with fasting. But for the most part, these things can be extremely responsive to a good healthy fast, along with the proper refeed afterwards. Trying to think if I had any, there's been so many like huge effects. I do remember worked with a couple of people with lymphoma, and we had one lady, she couldn't do a water fast because she was taking care of her kid, and she had to do too many things that she couldn't rest properly during the fast. So we did a juice fast. We did a modified type of fast. And even in those, I believe we had about 7 or 8 days of juice fasting, and she had lymphoma. And so she did a MRI beforehand and then an MRI afterwards. And the tumor actually shrank during, because of the fast as well. So that was very significant, even to show that you don't necessarily have to water fast, that there could be some effect there as well.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I seen really crazy things like in my own practice as well, but like uh, we know that fasting is way more powerful. Water fasting is even more powerful than any other modalities of fasting. But it's good to hear that you guys also apply juice fasting, for example, because a lot of people, it's hard to be motivated to not eat. It's hard to have enough time to take it off because during water fasting you have a lot less motivation to do the daily chores. Like so it's quite cool. So when you recommend a juice fast, it's like only vegetable juice or like fruit juices as well.
Yeah,
How
it
does
could be a
that work?
combination of both. Some people prefer, more like a vegetable type juice, and others like the fruit, but it's either one, kind of a combination of both.
I see. And I think I know the answer, but like, so they don't experience any kind of glycemic peak or any issues with like their glycemia or diabetes in fruit in a juice fasting.
Yeah, they do. So, but the issue with blood sugar is it doesn't matter so much how high it goes; it's how high it stays, how long it stays there when it's high. And so, you can have temporarily some fruit or vegetable juice during a fast, and then recover from the fast, eat healthy food, and then your blood sugar will be fine after that. Okay, so we don't have to worry about temporary spikes with blood sugar. If someone's dealing with significant diabetes, it's not the problem. The cause of their problem is not the blood sugar itself. It's this insulin resistance that's preventing their cells from accepting the glucose in there to decrease the glucose. So that's going to be a bigger issue. But temporary spikes aren't a big concern. Yeah. So temporarily, we probably, depending on the diabetic, you would only use like juice and modified fasting if you couldn't do a water fast. Okay, so that might be somebody on medications that they can't phase off of, and so in that case, maybe we might do some juice fasting and just accept the temporary blood sugar spikes. But the root cause of the problem is going to be the diet. And so once we finish with the fast and get on the right diet, then the blood sugar will start to normalize.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's I always tell people the same thing because I have also a book about diabetes, and like people don't realize that fruits can actually increase your blood sugar. That's for sure. Any kind of carbs. But still, it's coming with antioxidants, it's coming with fiber, it's coming with like vitamins, minerals, that makes bioactive compounds that act with your gene expression, microbiota, metabolism, or endocrinological system. So a lot of things will be changing at the same time that's throwing your blood sugar up. But for sure, if the person is already diabetic, she will have a glycemic peak. But still, it's in the long run, the fruit, even the fruit by itself or juice, will still have benefits and it will help to reduce the complications of diabetes. But
Right.
it's not just diet itself, but it's the whole lifestyle that people deal. You know, even eating late can give a glycemic peak way bigger. Like, it's a lot of stuff. But like
Right.
that.
I, it's a good point too, is that I generally don't recommend a lot of juices when people aren't fasting. So I'd recommend that they just eat whole natural foods as best as they can. Is it better to do juices, fruit, vegetable juices, whole natural foods, as part of your diet versus cookies? I think it's a hard comparison to make. They're both going to spike your blood sugar, but ultimately we were looking at the totality of somebody's diet and what they're eating as the majority of their calories. And so if they're eating too many refined calories, juice is part of that, then it's going to be too much. But during a fast, we can modify it to get closer to a fast, and then I don't see any problems with that temporary blood sugar spikes.
Nice, nice. And what other adaptations to fasting you do on your own practice? Like fasting mimicking diet. I like Longo's work a lot, but I don't agree with I don't agree at all with like powdered foods for like, I think he could recommend a caloric restricted diet, like a semi fast, severe caloric restriction with whole foods. But
Right, but it's then you wouldn't have any products to sell. So the I think that I would prefer, if people want to do a modified diet, then yeah, have have a week of just fruits and vegetables and nothing else. Okay, no oil, no sugar, no teriyaki sauce, no liquid aminos, no soy sauce. Just have plain fruits and vegetables for 7 days and see how you feel. Okay, and see that might be an eye-opening experience, because you get the milk out of your system, the dairy products, get the eggs out of the system. You might start to feel like you're breathing better. Okay, you may start to feel like you're sleeping better, and so this all may open up your eyes a little bit as to what your body is actually capable of. So I hear that there is a need for people wanting to do some kind of cleanse. Okay, and that the idea that you have to do a particular cleanse is yeah, it's interesting. You're trying to buy a product, that's fine, but you can do it in the same way, probably even better, with just the food itself.
I agree. I agree. I when I first went raw, like almost 18 years ago, I managed to stay like for almost 2 years without almost without no overt fats like nuts and seeds, primarily fruits and vegetables. It was like the best feeling I ever had in my whole life. Like the functionality of my brain, body, it was like impressive. And I did a water fast during. I did several water fasts during those 2 years. So nowadays I include like grains, legumes, like even sprouted. Uh, or else sometimes you can get too thin, and I do
Mhm.
recipes for clients, and I run retreats. I do like recipe books as well. So I'm a little bit more flexible nowadays, but I felt my best just eating plain fruits and vegetables. Like it's unbelievable. And so, what else besides fasting? Because a lot of people, that's a really important topic to touch. What else do you recommend besides fasting? Because I just did a video today of several mechanisms several lifestyle habits that also activate autophagy. And a lot of people don't understand that exercise activates autophagy in skeletal muscle. Ormatic phytonutrients, as they call, also activate autophagy. Not sleeping properly reduces autophagy, and I have been telling this you know, teaching this to my students, to listeners, etc., because people just think it's fasting by itself. But for example, when I started studying chrononutrition and chronobiology, probably 7 years ago, something like that, I started paying a lot more attention during fasting about exposure to electric lights and going to bed really early. And I saw a lot of difference. So I always tell people, like it's not just fasting, it's what you do after and before the fast, but also even what you do during the fast. My last water fast was 39 days, and I made sure whenever the sun went down, I was going to bed and sleeping. For the first time in my several water fasts that I did, this one actually, I was sleeping probably 12 hours a day. I never
Wow.
managed to sleep that much during a fast. And that one, I managed to sleep that much. So I think it was also because of paying a lot more attention to chronobiology these last few years. And during the fast, I was really, you know, uh, not exposing myself to electric lights after 6 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. There's a number of things besides fasting that can improve your health, and these are straight out of natural hygiene principles, which is diet is huge. Now, it just happened to be diet is the most important one. It just kind of happened that way. The less the further we stray from a natural diet, the more we're going to have diseases of the kings, what the royalty used to have. Diet is important. Okay, sleep is another important thing. So your body needs to have 5, 6, or 7 REM cycles and deep cycle sleeps in a row in order for your body to actually wash away all the debris that's been created through your thoughts, feelings, and emotions throughout the day. If you don't have enough sleep, you're going to wake up feeling tired and groggy. Okay, and if that means that you're waking up with a dirty brain, a brain hasn't had enough time to clear out the debris. If you wake up feeling tired and you drink caffeine, which most people do, you're now getting a nervous system stimulant that blocks the signal from your brain that your body is tired. So you're getting a false sense of energy. And not only that, caffeine has a half life of 6 hours, which means that if you drink some coffee in the morning, by evening time, you still have caffeine in your system that's preventing your brain from feeling tired enough to get good sleep. And so that's going to turn into a vicious cycle where you can't get enough sleep, then you wake up tired, but you have to perform for work or whatever it is, and you have to drink coffee. So it's a very vicious cycle. Sleep's extremely important. Exercise is another thing that's important. And if you don't have good sleep, you're going to be too tired to actually engage in a lot of exercise. And if you're too tired to engage in exercise, you're going to be too tired to make good decisions with regards to the food that you're eating. Okay, so those are the three main ones: diet, sleep, and exercise. We get those three right, the rest of them are a little bit easier. Okay, the next are sunshine. Okay, exposing your skin to sunshine so you can get vitamin D, and so that your eyes can actually have a natural sleep-wake cycle when you're exposed to more sunshine and sunlight. So we have diet, sleep, exercise, sunshine. The next one's laughter. Okay, so you want to enjoy your life. And so if you are going to be around people that make you sad and angry and you feel like things are always unfair with them, this is just a numbers problem. You have to engage with enough people that you find you find your tribe, you find your village, that you enjoy being around these people. Okay, so that's laughter. That kind of ties into this is the social circle, making sure that you have a loving social circle. So again, this is a numbers problem. If you're stressed out constantly and people in your social circle are arguing with you and telling you you're crazy because you're trying to eat healthy, maybe do some fasting, and you actually have a doctor's advice that you're not actually crazy and that this is actually the correct move, and this is causing you great psychological pain because you're not around people that accept you and love you and like you, then maybe it's time to start working towards a better friend circle, a better social circle. You want people that are supportive of your goals. You want people that you're living in harmony with, that will trade something from you for something that they've created, maybe some knowledge or some products. Okay. So we've got diet, sleep, exercise, sunshine, laughter, appropriate response to stress, the loving social circle. And then we have appropriate response to stress. Okay. Sometimes the stresses that we have in the modern world are due to the modern world, but they're actually stressors that are more in line with our ancestry. So sometimes it takes some help to get some advice from that. Okay. So finding a good counselor or a good friend or somebody whose knowledge about human history can understand these things and can interpret them and help you figure these things out. Okay, so we got diet, sleep, exercise, sunshine, laughter, appropriate response to stress, a loving social circle. And then the last one, number 8, is kind of all encompassing. It's pure water and pure air. Okay, making sure that we're not drinking, water that's got stuff in it that shouldn't be in there, and we're not breathing, polluted air. So for most people, it's going to be, as long as you don't smoke anything, and then you're going to be mostly fine. Okay, if you're living in a huge polluted city, you're going to have a few more problems than somebody who doesn't. Okay, but those are going to be the most important things for your health. And if we do these things, then we get to feel and we get to see our health improve, and in ways that most people will not. So the goal here in doing all these things is we want to be getting healthier faster than we are getting sick. Okay. And the modern world puts in front of our plates and in front of our faces many things that will help us get health, many things that will help us get sicker quicker. Okay. And so this is, we're on a little time crunch. Okay. That if we are able to do this, we will actually get to live our life all the way up until we die, rather than what a lot of people do, which is they die slowly as they live. Okay. And to the point where now they're in their 80s and 90s or 70s or 80s, and they're thinking, gosh, when am I going to die? I'm getting ready to go there. They can't wait. Okay. But instead, if you're actually living your life free of pain, free of discomfort, you can move around, you can play, you're mentally sharp. This is a life worth living. And this may be worth it to consider what's on the other end if we live a healthy lifestyle.
Nice, nice. And do you still have time?
Yeah, one more question, then I've got to run.
Cool. What do you recommend for people to eat? Do you also agree with Goat Hammer? Do you also agree with natural hygiene, a whole food, plant-based diet?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
how
I think.
and,
Mhm.
and how important it is for them to eat a plant-based diet before the fast and after the fast?
Mhm. Yeah, so I completely I believe that the research is abundantly clear that a diet that is predominantly a whole food plant-based diet is going to be resulting in the most amount of health improvements. Okay. So if we look at the last year of somebody's diet, that's about, 3 meals a day is about 1,000 meals. That's about 1,000 pounds of food in total. Okay. So if we have 1,000 pounds of food and it's not composed of fruits like apples, bananas, grapes, oranges, and vegetables like carrots and lettuce and tomatoes and you know beets and jicama, and then we have maybe some steamed vegetables and some starches like potatoes and rice and sweet potatoes and beans and lentils. If we don't have that as the majority of our diet, so about 850 pounds of that, and then we're not going to be seeing reversal of any diseases. Okay. So anybody who's looking at their diet and saying, oh, I already eat healthy, how can I possibly have this disease? You're not. Okay. We know for sure that you're not, just based on what diseases you have, because people who don't eat a healthy diet, who eat a healthy diet, don't have these diseases. Okay. And so this is what we're trying to do. Okay. Now, I also can admire and respect the people who try very diligently and struggle with this because the unnatural food is addictive. Okay, it's hijacking our motivation centers and it's hijacking our taste buds to perceive certain foods as more valuable than the others. And so before the fast, it's important to at least start to move away from the unhealthy foods. So getting off the caffeine, phasing off the caffeinated foods, phasing off the animal foods and the fried foods and the junk foods and the cookies and cakes and pastries and whatnot, and to eat more raw foods like salads and fruit salads and smoothies, and to eat more of the other foods. Okay, so and then after the fast, I do encourage people to continue on the diet, but the cool thing is it's a lot easier after fasting because your taste buds have taken a complete break. The foods taste really good again. And also, more importantly, is now the cravings are much more decreased because your brain has interpreted that the junk foods are out of season. Okay. So as long as we can actually stay these foods out of season, it's a lot easier to stay on the diet. Okay. But if someone's like, I'm going to eat the diet and then every so often I'm going to go eat some junk food here and there, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because now you're signaling to your brain that the foods are around and you're designed as an industrious human to go around and find all the junk food, find whatever foods there are in the environment. So yeah, big thing kind of we didn't talk about, but to increase your success after the fast is we clean up your own environment. So keep your home clean. Okay. But yeah, I do encourage a whole food plant-based diet. The better we can make it free of salt and oil and sugar and flour and alcohol and coffee, the more we can do that, the better the health is going to be. Okay. Some people are A+ students and they have a natural ability to get everything organized so that they can do it 100% right and an A+. Okay. Congratulations to them. That's all fine. Okay. But not everybody's like that. So we want to be kind of meeting you where you are at and try to improve things as best we can so that we can enjoy some reversal of disease and then enjoy our life. That's really what it's like. It's about enjoying your life and do the best that we can.
Tell me, what do you actually eat during the day? Because people at home are like really, always curious about what we do in our daily livings, right? I say like I eat fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds and legumes, and they are like, wow, how, why, how, like they cannot even imagine a sprouted chickpea, for example, because of I'm a raw fooder, so they never imagine like, but chickpeas you have to cook them, like no, you don't have it. So can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, it's a good question. And um, one thing I like to start with is that as a general rule, everybody's individual diet may be a little bit different, just depending on preferences, depending on health concerns, depending on goals, short term, long term. And so, but the overarching concept for diet is that we want to take away processed and refined foods. So things like oily food, oil, salt, sugar, alcohol, caffeine, flour. These are kind of the major things, processed meats, those types of things. These are the major things. So if we start there, then we start to look and see that our diet actually looks surprisingly similar across all the kinds of different cultures. Okay. So you may eat, 2 times more salad than I do, one couple days a week. And then there may be other days where I eat more salad than you. Okay. And so there's going to be different days and different times and different goals. Now, a diet that is high in raw fruits and vegetables can be very useful, particularly because when we look at different foods, they all have different concentrations. So, for example, oil is 4,000 calories per pound, okay, which means that when we have, say, salad is 100 calories per pound. So, oil is 40 times more concentrated than salad is. And so it's a lot easier to overeat when you're including refined foods like oil. And so raw fruits and vegetables can be super helpful because they are quite low in calorie concentration. So you can eat a lot of them without getting too many calories. And the vast majority of diseases in the modern world today are due to overconsumption of calories. And so the more of these fruits and vegetables that people include in their diet, the better off they're going to be. So with that said, I'll give you an example of what I ate yesterday. Okay. And so yesterday was, it was for breakfast. It was oatmeal and fruits. Okay. So It's any fruits, apple. I think yesterday it was oranges and bananas. But right now it's summer in it's starting to become summer, and so there's lots of fresh cherries and strawberries and other kind of really delicious fruits. For lunch and dinner, for lunch I had a salad with some baked potatoes and some cucumbers and and the salad had a huge bowl of lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, a little bit of celery and onions, and then some boiled potatoes. And then dinner was actually very similar. I had rice and beans and then a big salad. So and that was yesterday. So that's a pretty typical kind of day of food for me. It's lots of fruits and vegetables and also some cooked vegetables and some starches.
So, what would be your tips for people wanting to fast and to follow a natural hygiene diet and lifestyle? What would be your main tips?
Yeah, there's a number of things, the ways to think about this. Okay, but first and foremost, we have to give up the magic. Okay, so when I say magic, I mean anytime you have a symptom, you say, "Oh, I got some cough. I got to go take something for my cough, or I got to go take a pill or take something for my discomfort." That's a that's a that's a strategy that I think is going to cause some problems long term because uh, if we give up the magic, we're essentially we want to we want to recognize that the body can heal itself of almost everything if we give it the right conditions. And the right conditions are a proper diet, proper sleep, proper exercise, and sunshine, laughter, appropriate response to stress. And so the kind of the big overarching goal is that you want your body to support, you want to support your body so that it can heal itself as best as it can. So that means breakfast, lunch, dinner, and also good sleep and good exercise. Those are going to be principles in natural hygiene that are going to take you through pretty much every problem that you're going to have.
Agreed, agreed. People always think about like doing something instead of doing nothing, right? Like
Hmm.
if I was having symptoms that I don't have for now almost 18 years, and I was really sick child and a really sick adolescent when I started hygiene, and for almost 18 years without symptoms, it's not just a blessing, but it's funny that I understood the hygienic concept. Like if I have something, I will do nothing instead of
Hmm.
trying to do something that is actually harmful. Because most interventions are actually harmful for the body, but the body is so efficient in healing that he heals in spite of the damage that we cause through these medical interventions.
Right.
So, what would be the tip for a person wanting to fast?
Yeah, I would say one way to tell if it's time to do a water fast is if plain natural foods don't taste that good by themselves. So if you're finding that you need to add a bunch of salt or oil or frying the foods, or that the foods just taste bland, this may be a time to give your body a break. Now, as a doctor who actually supervises people who fast, I don't really recommend that people do very long fasts on their own without some kind of supervision. And when I say supervision, what I mean is getting blood work done, checking your electrolytes, getting blood pressure, pulse, temperature, weight done every day, and conversing with the doctor who's skilled in this, and so who knows what to look for, what not to look for, and what to use to break the fast, and also proper refeeding instructions. So that said, anywhere from a couple of days, 2, 3, 4 days or 5 days of water fasting on your own may be okay. It depends on your health conditions as well. And so, yeah, doing a fast on your own, perfectly fine. Couple of days, maybe even do a juice fast for a couple of days. But the purpose of a short fast like this is to give your taste buds a short break and take the fat and salt receptors offline so that the healthy food starts to taste a little bit better. And you don't have to do a long 20-day fast by yourself. But if you do a couple of these fasts over, say, a month or two, then you might start to improve your taste bud sensitivity so that you can start to enjoy foods on their own. And then if you need to do a longer fast, then you find somebody who can supervise you.
Nice, nice, nice. And any other last tips or thoughts into healthful living and hygiene and fasting, what would you like to comment or give for people to, yeah, the take home message, I think.
The take home message is that you are in the fight for your life. Okay. And it's not for living a very, very long, much longer than if you were eating unhealthy. It's about actually living all the way up until you die. So, unfortunately, with the forces of the modern world and the processed foods and all the things that are available in the modern world that are distractions to this, it's not a fair fight. Okay, it's not a fair fight, and so it requires a lot of grit, a little bit of discipline, a lot of luck, and a lot of good knowledge. And so, with the information that you're putting out and information that people can find on various different websites, it can be a bit daunting, but it's actually one of the things that I recommend is finding a community where you can chat with people and kind of have the social aspect of the food program and the healthy lifestyle is kind of top of mind with all the group. And this sounds like what the this is it Saude Frugal? The Saude Frugal group is it has this in there. And so it's a really good and useful part of living a healthy lifestyle, have some friends and some people who agree with you and can bounce ideas off of themselves. You don't want to be stuck arguing about which diet to eat and what you should and shouldn't do. You want to move past that. You want to have that all down, and now you're just sharing tips and tricks of how to do it in the modern world, which is difficult enough as it is. But I've basically boiled it down to maybe three or four things that can help with the diet. Number one is keep your kitchen stocked full of healthy things. Okay. So you want it to be easy to make healthy food. You don't want it to be the difference between going out for fast food that only takes, 15 minutes to go there and back versus, versus, taking you 20 minutes to go to the store, having to make food all for yourself. And then now it's going to be easier to get to the fast food. The, sec- the second thing is get a good night's sleep. If you're well rested and you're not very tired, then it's a lot easier mentally to make better decisions throughout the day. The third thing is to make sure you get good exercise. That can help because even if you utterly fail for the day with the food, nobody can take away the fact that you exercised. And so, at least if you exercise, you at least get part of the healthy thing right. Okay. And the fourth thing is kind of keep a social circle of people who don't argue with you and aren't sitting there and antagonizing you for making the choices that you do. Those are the four things that I've just found are make a healthy lifestyle more pleasant. And it's certainly not easy, but it's usually the most difficult thing that people will do in their life. But usually it is the most rewarding.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, for me as well. Like I learned to love hygiene. I learned to love healthful living because I was a fat kid eating a lot of processed food. I didn't love fruits and vegetables at all. Like I didn't have any kind of palate. Like my food couldn't be natural. It must be industrialized with a lot of fats, sugar, salt, oil, blah blah blah. And in just few days, everything starts to change. In a few months, a lot has changed, and in a few years, my brain is completely different. So I think what I usually say to people is that I wish I know this sooner so I didn't lose 22 years of my life, the 22 first years. But I also uh, think that difficult is actually being sick because being healthy is the easiest thing I ever did. So it's quite easy, to eat fruits and vegetables, exercise, sleep early. For sure, we go out of the social norm, right? But still,
Mm-hmm.
it's a pleasure to live hygienically because of the benefits and not just the benefits, the well being that provides you every day.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And yeah, if you're talking, once you get the ball rolling, then it can be it can be a little bit easier to kind of stay on. It's hard to start the train, but once it's
Yeah, for
moving,
sure.
you've got that momentum. So yeah, completely agree.
I agree. I agree with your last thought. So, how do they find you? How can they actually hire you to supervise their fast? And any other last comments or social media, etc., things you want to add?
Yeah, if you're thinking about doing a fast from home, then I do offer remote supervision. If you're in Brazil, for example, we would need to figure out how you can get some blood work done with maybe a local doctor in the area. But my website is fastingescape.com, and you can go through there and kind of look how to schedule a consultation with me and fill out some health history, and then we make sure we can get it all done in time for the fast. But that's a program that I had a fasting clinic, and then as the challenges of the pandemic became more prevalent, a lot of people started asking to do some fasting at home, and so I've been able to figure out a good program to do while you're at home, and it involves daily check-ins on the phone. We talk on the phone every day. We get blood work done before the fast and also during the fast if it's a longer fast, and then walk you through some proper refeeding instruction as well, so that we can essentially get back to a modern, a normal, healthy lifestyle in the modern world. So that's where the escape comes from. Is we're escaping the trap of the modern day foods. And if we fast, we have a better opportunity to escape from that.
For sure, for sure. So, first of all, it was a pleasure to talk to you, to meet you, to get to know your a little bit more of your work, because I admire every person that is actually putting out the hygienic idea, advocating natural hygiene, because we are visionaries. That's the only thing I can say. The world one day will thank us for seeing ahead and trying to make people understand that health is produced by healthful living, as Dr. Herbert Shelton used to say. Because, yeah, there's nothing more true that can actually save the world, in my humble opinion, than natural hygiene. So it was a pleasure. Hope to meet you one day. If you ever open a fasting clinic, hope to go there one day. I'm actually planning for in the future visiting True North Health Center. I never visited there, but I already did several long water fasts, and that's one thing that I want to mention and want to make sure that you guys at home understand. I don't suggest nobody to fast at home without supervision, long water fasts. So get proper clinical medical supervision. Things Fasting is natural, but like, we're not as natural as once we were, and things can go bad. So we're not as healthy as in the past. So make sure you have medical supervision to fast. And don't forget, fasting is no panacea. Way more important than fasting is a healthful living. But for sure, fasting can do things that no healthful living can. If you do long water fast, really the regeneration mechanism is really impressive. You can heal things that I had more benefits. I had seen more benefits in my back with a 39-day water fast than I had in 16 years of living hygienically. So, fasting long term, it's really beneficial, but it must be done right. But it doesn't matter if you don't live healthfully before and after and learn how to live hygienically. If I can only give one last suggestion, my book, Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery, is available on Amazon, on print on demand and Kindle. I wrote it because fasting actually saved my life. So I managed to get all the scientific data, the most recent ones, but also the view from Shelton and other natural hygiene pioneers. And my books are starting to be translated to English. So hope to see you one day, Nathan. It was a pleasure to be with you. I will send you the link of the interview as soon as it's out on the channel. And good luck, my friend. See you soon.
Perfect. It was such a pleasure being interviewed by you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the video and then sharing it across the channels. All the best, and to anybody listening, this is the right approach. Just enjoy the process and enjoy the food.
Take care. See you later.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Did you like the podcast? What other subjects would you want to view here? Do you want to know more about? Please comment below. don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to help our work and help yourself, 2 of my 10 books are already translated and published in English on Amazon. And Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery is actually available print on demand also. And Natural Delicacies, Cooking Without a Stove, it's on Kindle. So if you want my help, the link below for the website and for the WhatsApp contact, you can get a consultation, retreats, online courses, and read all the books. It's life-changing information for the most updated lifestyle information out there in the planet. Hope I can help, and don't forget to click these videos to know more.